What's going on, guys? Back at her. So, I've been working on here a little bit already. I've been cutting my little fish plates since I don't have a fancy plasma cutter like some people. I was just doing with a zip cutting ruler. So I got two different sizes. I got that one for about there, and then I got one that's slightly smaller for where we go from the 3-inch in. So that should work out good enough, I'm thinking. So I got to do both sides, inside and out. I'm not gonna worry about anything back here because I got this plate, which I think is gonna have lots of strength. And then, yeah, I said I'm gonna 18 times, so I gotta finish welding those tabs. I might actually do it today. And whatever bracing I have, then I can pull the suspension out, and I'll probably just take the whole rear end right out of it. Just there's two bolts holding it in, and then a ratchet strap, so that'll fall out. And then I can just flip the thing on its lid and a pile more welding. So that's what you guys are in for tonight. Alright, so I got the plates all kind of welded in. I did the front trailing arm, truck arm, whatever you want to call them, mounts, so they're a little more secure. I went around and did these side mounts, so they're good. Nothing's going to move. So my plan is now I'm just going to undo those two bolts, drop the ratchet strap, the whole rear end will come out, and I can drag it out of the way and put the stands on it or something. And the front, same thing, just two bolts on either side of these hairpins. And then I'll probably just unbolt this 4 bolts that hold the spring, and then that'll come out, and the frame will be 100% by itself. It's hot as hell right now, so I got to clean up a little bit, and then I just got to kind of roll it over on its lid, because I didn't weld any underneath on the fish plate, so I got to do that. But I figured I wasn't going to struggle because it's going to go upside down. And then finish the boxing and carry on getting this all kind of situated together. But it's going pretty good. And then before I weld this stuff in, I got to figure something out, a spacer, or do something, because I think when you weld that, it can kind of distort it. And then I might put a couple of gussets on either side. I'm not too sure exactly. That, like I said, I'll build another piece on once it's kind of more on the road and stuff. And up the front, there's a little box there. I got to make sure that's all taken care of, weld it up. So do all that. I'll probably wire wheel it. I hope I have enough paint, because I can just kind of give it a scuff, shoot all black, be done today, and then tomorrow, start again, reassemble it, and go from there. Okay. 2 days ago I had a full car. Felt like it anyways. So, what I'm going to do now, this is where this frame, if you guys remember it, when I had that Roadster body, it has a set of kind of big wishbone, whatever it is, and they went all the way back here. So I'm just going to grind that out and plug that up. And then this is where the kind of front of the frame was kicked, so it was sliced here and here, so one to go that way, and one to level it back out. And I don't know, I didn't weld it, so I think I might just kind of grind it down, V it out, re-weld it, and I might just put a little fish plate on each one, just so it looks cool. And then finish welding around here, grind this off, and then it was plated in here, but I never got in there, so I'll have to kind of weld in there a little bit, make it look nice and pretty. Yeah, So that's what I'm gonna do. Alright, it's been a long night. I'm gonna call her here, I think, go have something to eat. It's what time is it here? 9:13. That's enough garage time for me. I've been at it all day. So I finished this side. I got it kind of welded on. Again, just the tops. Plugged the holes in. I'm happy with it. Still got to do the one where that wishbone bolted in. So I'll deal with that tomorrow. I've had enough of it tonight. I think that's it. A little bit more at the front, then I can flip her over and buzz her together. Got a quick list because I ran out of grinding discs, and I should get some paint for this thing tomorrow. Probably would have been a lot easier just to build a frame out of 2x3 instead of trying to do all this, but in my head I thought it would be cool to have a Model A chassis. I don't know what I was thinking. See you guys tomorrow. Okay, next day. I've done a little bit of work, but stuff I figured you guys didn't really care about. Actually, what did I do? Oh, I filled in the hole in the frame. I welded a little kind of gusset thing on the top. I cleaned up the, it had that little suicide perch, re-welded it, re-welded a few things there. So nothing too crazy, but I think I'm pretty much done on the top side. I chopped out the center brace that was the old transmission kind of cross member, so I think I'm just going to tag off of that one. So yeah, I think that's where I'm going to be at. So now I'm going to flip it over and start again. So that's fun, but yeah, watch me struggle. Well, I've jumped ahead. I didn't do a lot of filming, mostly because I didn't know what I was gonna do in this situation. I saw some people were kind of commenting, you know, I'm not leaving the frame like that. No, that wasn't the plan. And how I kind of joined this all together. So, I'll give you a bit of a rundown. I mean, that side's obviously how this side started. So I had some metal here, which is roughly the same kind of thickness as the actual frame. So I welded a piece on, you know, around and then to the actual frame itself. This where it was torched, I welded that to the frame as well, and that left a little gap. So I kind of ground those down, and then I just filled that in. So that's all welded up. I then, on the inside of the frame, I welded the whole way around as well, so I was happy with that. And then on this side, I took some more of that material. I guess I can not be so lazy and stand up. And so I boxed the inside and kind of came out and then into it. So that's kind of that. I haven't done anything with the rest of it, so I still got to clean that up and weld that all in. That's just real rough, needs to be cleaned up yet. Did all the fish plates here, because it was sticking up just like that. So I basically just kind of cut around 3 ways and then up, and then I just folded it down. So that piece I just folded over and buzzed that the whole way around. I'm happy with it. It's miles and miles of welding. I feel like the more I'm doing, the better I'm getting at welding stuff. Still not perfect, but it's not going to fall apart. At the front, I welded this sucker in on the back side. I did both little fish plates I did here on the kick, and then I ground out the one and V'd it out and just re-welded it. So unfortunately, that was actually a couple hours of work, maybe even a little longer. So I guess maybe I'll set the tripod up for the other one. I'm not really too sure. I'm going to get around, kind of clean all that up and get back to welding, which you guys have already seen. Another real tedious, boring job, but I'm actually pretty happy with it now. I think we're going to live stream later, so hopefully I get this kind of taken care of, but it might be a job for tomorrow, depending on how late we go tonight. So wish me luck, and let me know what you think of that. If it's terrible, I guess you can leave a comment, but I think I'm still going to roll with it. Did the live stream, and then I had some supper. I forgot where I left off, but it's getting kind of late. But I'm thinking I want to get the frame cleaned up, you know, like all the tack weld stuff. So I'll probably just grind it real quick, and then I put on a thick zip disc and I just kind of ran it through, just get all the junk out, and then I might start welding it. We'll see. I might leave that for tomorrow. I'm going to tackle that tomorrow for sure, because that was a lot of work. And I'm not feeling that tonight for sure, but if I can get this kind of mind-numbingly boring work, yeah, making progress though. Alright, well, it's all buzzed together. It's pretty ugly. It kept popping and banging because it's just got a bunch of, I guess, junk in between the, like the box section, the frame, and I tried cleaning it up, but powered through it. I'll grind it all smooth. It'll be no big deal. I went around back here, got all the edges all dealt with, finished doing the fish plates on both sides, so I'm happy with that. And I did all these on that side, so that's all good. So tomorrow, I just gotta grind everything smooth, so that's a bit of a bummer, but whatever. And then finish doing what I did on that side of the frame there. And I think I'm done the bottom side, so I'll probably just fill in a few more holes, grind a few more things down, and I'll just kind of wire wheel or whatever, use a flap disc on the whole thing, make it nice and shiny, paint it, flip it over, finish the top side, give it one more coat and be done with it. And yeah, I guess then I can start kind of assembling. Still gotta screw out the front suspension, the spring and all that, because I do have to space it. So I'll have to figure something out there, but I can't see it being too difficult. I'm sure I'll be able to figure something out and bang that sucker together. But that's it for me tonight. See you guys tomorrow. Alright, next day. So I've actually been doing a little bit of work after I got home, but I didn't do a lot of filming because it was kind of boring. I'm sure you guys have seen enough fast forward grinding, but I ground down the perimeter there, so where I did the boxing, so that's all taken care of. I went over all my little joints and stuff, did that, so they're all pretty much permanently burned in on the bottom side anyways. I filled the inside hole where the bones were, so that's dealt with. I put a 2-inch block to space the suspension down because it was bottomed out, so that'll be perfect, hopefully. And then I took out the front mount for the suicide perch, that little bar that was there, so that's kind of useless. And once it's all together, I want to actually just kind of make some horns or something like that, so it looks kind of cool. After that, I just kind of used the flap wheel and went over the whole thing. Nothing too crazy, got all kind of gross rust off. I'll probably do it one more time. But I'm hoping, right now I'm going to start working on this rear section, so I can kind of fold it all over, do my thing, box it in, all that. And then once that's dealt with, then I'll probably just, go over it one more time, clean it. I can paint the underside, let that dry, flip it over. Any last little welds I'll have to do, I can be taken care of. But I think it's kind of short list at this point now, which is exciting. So a little bit more cutting, grinding, welding. So I'll kind of show you how I did this, or how I'm going to do this one, maybe a little more in depth, now that I kind of know what I was doing here. And yeah, get the cleaning up, get the painting, and put it back together kind of more permanently, which will be pretty slick. Alright, so here's where we're at. I got the camera there, it may not be the best angle, but might work back and forth. So the first thing we can do, I actually already cut this out with a zip cut because it was just kind of torched or whatever. But I'm going to weld that in solid, so you'll see there won't be much of a gap there. And then I got these two pieces cut. This is just some scrap steel I had. So the top will kind of fit on top like that. And I'll do the same thing, burn that in. On the other side, clean that up. Then once there's the two, it'll just be kind of a little gap. So I'll clean up with the grinder, fill it in, and then grind it smooth. And then obviously weld it across there. And then I cleaned up the underside so I can weld on the back side as well, which I did. I don't know if you can see in there, but I welded the back side as well. So it'll be completely welded in the whole way. This is kind of roughly the same thickness as the rest, so I can do that. And then I got this piece. I don't know what way it goes, but it's going to do something along those lines. And then obviously it's got a gap, so I'll just kind of tack it in place, and then I'll just run some clamps on it to fold it in. It'll have a little bit of a goofy curve, but then I'll just kind of weld it in, and no one will be the wiser. So I'm going to get that done first, that way it's 100% done, and then I'll work on this, just slitting it and folding it over. But otherwise, I think it's pretty much ready to do. I think I've welded everything else. Pretty simple, but I'll get started. So here's progress we made. No bones about it. I ground that out and re-welded it because I wasn't happy with it. Ran around the edge and all that. Both passes, and I hit that with the grinder. So it's good enough. I probably didn't have to do that, but it'll look pretty, and that is the bottom side, so you might actually see it. I've cleaned up in here and there, and then I ground down a little bit here and just kind of put a little edge in it, because when I put my plate on, this one I guess, it's going to kind of fit like that. That way I'll be able to kind of get a good weld in there. So same thing, I'll kind of tack weld this to the front and kind of clamp it along and burn its way in. It's a little long on, in this case it's the bottom side, but the frame is upside down. So once I flip it over, I'll just run a zip cut across, trim it, and then I'll weld it in. So the top side on that one isn't actually done either. But I figure it's easier to do it right side up than working on my back. So I'll get started on that. Actually, I gotta grind that one down because it's not quite done. But overall, pretty simple stuff. So there you go, she's all kind of boxed up. I haven't done the bottom side yet, so I'll have to slap a clamp on there and do the same. But otherwise, I'm just going to kind of clean that up a little bit. Actually, I got to weld a little in there, but no big deal. And I'll bring it back, and we'll start chopping this excess frameage. Well, no real secret as to what I did here. I just kind of took my little square. What way did I do it? This way. Kind of, so it was about lined up where I was happy with it. So it kind of intersects right with where the other section of frame is going to join in. I'm going to cut right along the weld line just above it on the front. I'll do the same thing on the back that I just did there. Knee crack. Something about like that. Grab the grinder. So there you go. Smash it over. weld her up. Okay, so now it's all kind of folded over. So all I did on the other side, I just gouged the weld a little bit. I'm actually going to play just a jam screwdriver here to prop it up just a little. You can see it's got a hump at the back, not the front. So I welded the front so it can't go anywhere. And then when I smashed the back, it actually pushed out that way, because you can see it's got a bit of a kink in it. And then you just kind of buzz it the whole way around. Easy peasy. Alright, so I think I'm ready. Armed with my trim clad. After watching my buddy old Half-Ass. Got a new video out, so go watch his video after this one. Subscribe to the channel too, my channel. Yeah, give him a like too. So, blast this. I'm just going to do the bottom. Because obviously I got to flip it around. I'm still going to do a little bit more welding to it. On the top side, motor mounts and all that stuff aren't quite happy, so I'm sure I'll end up grinding through. But it's got to be a lot easier to paint the absolute bottom of the frame and all like the spring pockets and all that while it's kind of upside down. And then flip it around. Let it dry. Well, I can let it dry, then I'll flip it around, and then maybe I'll finish at the top, give it a quick coat, maybe put it back into a rolling chassis, because I just like it looking better when it's all together. This is madness. So I'll get painting. Alright, so I just did the kind of bottom half. It's just flat black, so it'll dry real dull. So it'll hide all the butchery. So, good enough for me. I'm going to crank the heat in the garage and let this dry for a couple hours. Hopefully it'll be good enough. I can just kind of flip her over. I'm not overly concerned about beating it up. I just want it all one color so it looks a little bit nicer. Yeah, we'll go from there. Check her out, flat black. Good enough. It's a little wet in a few spots, but I want to get this thing together. So I'm going to roll it over so I can get to welding a little bit more. One last coat of paint. Yeah, she'll be a roller again tonight. Alright, she's flipped. So, actually I don't have as much work as I thought. I got to weld in this spacer, whatever you want to call it, block. Permanent, because it's just tacked in, because you can weld from the top side. It's a lot easier. Motor mounts, I'm not going to do anything with that until I get the motor in. Everything here worked out pretty good. The back plates actually were, must have measured right the first time because they're the right height, so I'll just give those a quick scuff. So it gets a good weld, and I just knocked it with a hammer. So that's dialed in. Otherwise, I think that's it. I was going to kind of do the whole top side with flap wheel, make it look kind of nice. Around the edges, do whatever I got to do. Another coat of paint, because I just can't, one coating, you see it's kind of bleeding through. But yeah, it actually went quicker and easier than I thought. So I'll weld this up real quick, get a coat of black on it, and then we'll start hanging the suspension back on. Hopefully it'll dry quick, so I do want to see how it's gonna sit with this block on it now. Hopefully it's at the right height. Well, there we go. It's all back together, painted. Paint's still a little wet. I got the heat cranked in the garage, so it'll dry nicely overnight. But yeah, I think that's where I'm gonna leave it for this one. Make sure you leave a comment. Let me know what you think. Hopefully you guys like what I did there, but I'm pretty stoked on it. It looks 1,000 times better than it did, and I think it's strong and safe, so I got no issues. I haven't done anything with trailing arms yet. I still got the pinion angle, all those sort of things, and you know, transmission cross member, mount, and all that. So not overly concerned about that. Next, I think, is the body. So I'll see if I can get this chassis off to the side, or maybe turn the front, do something, and pull the body back, or I don't know what, maybe do some rust repair. Not really too sure what I'm going to work on next, but I'm sure you guys will find out when I do. So thanks for watching. I really appreciate it. Like, share, subscribe, tell your friends, leave a comment. I love those, and hit the bell. See you guys on the next one.